than Jim Rogers joining in on the show right now. Jim, hi, great to have you once again on ET Now. And we've been analyzing the PBOC measures. First things first, you think China is just about kicking the can down the road with these stimulus measures, or do you think these stimulus measures can actually yield fruitful results and try and give a leg up to the economy?
Well, I still own Chinese shares, so I'm delighted to see it. And I do imagine that will work. I have seen countries around the world for many years take stimulus efforts, and they usually work if they're strong enough. And China has certainly taken very strong measures. So I suspect that the Chinese stock market will be okay again for a while.
So when you say that, Jim, a part of it is already playing out because the minute the PBOC did come out with those stimulus measures, you did have a rally, fair amount in China. Of course, part of the reason also being that it's quite inexpensive and has done nothing ever since, the COVID lows. Do you think this is also going to help in flows into emerging markets as an asset class and thereby even help markets like India in the long haul?
Well, India has been very, very strong. I regret to say that I sold my Indian shares too soon, but India has been very strong. It's been making all-time highs, which is great for India. In my view, for the first time in my investing career, New Delhi wants people to succeed and they want people to make money. That is great for India, and it's a major change. So in my view, India is a good place to invest now. I sold too soon. If it goes down, I hope to buy back. I still have my Chinese shares. I have not sold any Chinese shares, and I continue to look for more. It may be too late now, but China's market is still depressed compared to most world stock markets. So China is one of the few stock markets in the world that might be good for investing still.
But do you think China will also continue to be the major growth driver for commodities globally? I mean, it has a pretty much, very sensitive correlation to the way metal prices are moving. Do you think it's going to spread beyond just metals to other asset classes as well within commodities?
Well, China is still one of the largest countries in the world and one of the largest economies in the world. So if they buy a lot of commodities, of course it will have an effect. Yes, I do expect things in commodities to still do well, partly because of China and partly because of India. I mean, you have the two largest economies in the world trying to encourage things now. So commodities do not have a bad future. Commodities will be good in the next few weeks or months.
Let's pick up on individual commodities, Jim, since you track that pretty closely. I mean, gold, it's at an all-time high, but now you think silver also could catch up because that's where we've seen, sort of underinvestment as opposed to gold.
Well, India knows more about gold and silver than most countries in the world. I have learned that over the years of visiting India. Yes, I would, if I were buying today, I own silver and I own gold, but if I were buying today, I would buy more silver because silver is still down a lot from its all-time high, and gold is near its all-time high.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it's quite cheap at that $31 per ounce. But I don't know if you're monitoring any levels in silver. I mean, how much could the rally be from the current levels when it comes to silver specifically, Jim?
I suggest you go down to the Indian markets and ask the women. The Indian women know more about silver and gold than just about anybody in the world, including more than me. But yes, I would buy silver today if there's an opportunity. I would not buy gold today. I would buy more silver because silver is down a lot from its all-time high. But go down to the markets in India and ask those women. They know a huge amount about gold and silver.
The other thing I wanted to talk about Brent, and given its sensitivity to consumers like India as well, or importers rather, crude has already seen a 7.5% fall, Jim, year to date. We're currently around those 71, 72 odd levels, per barrel. Now that China growth concerns at least are part addressed, and maybe they could very well be behind us. Wanted to understand where you see crude actually moving from here.
Well, I own some crude, but I am not buying crude right now. Crude went up a lot. I mean, it's coming down, as you rightly point out. But from my point of view, it has not come down enough for me to be buying more crude yet. Who knows? If it goes down some more, I hope I'm smart enough to buy more crude. The bull market in crude is not over. There are many reasons to buy crude, including the world's reserves, known reserves, continue to decline. So do not give up on crude. Do not give up on silver, and do not give up on crude.
Jim, morning now, despite the rally that we've seen in non-ferrous metals, steel, that continues to underperform. In fact, on a year-to-date basis, we've seen steel prices down about 25%. Do you think that the tide for steel could turn with a revival that we've seen in Chinese demand?
Well, you point out very astutely, yes, yes. Normally in the commodities markets, or in any markets, but especially commodities, if something is down, one should certainly consider buying it and maybe even buy it. Crude and silver are down from their highs. Gold is not. So of the three, I would consider buying crude and silver. I am not right now, partly because I'm talking to you and partly because I'm lazy.
And we haven't touched upon agri-commodities. Just curious to get in your take as to where you see them headed, Jim.
Well, you know, the central bank in America, and I will use America since it's the largest, in America, they think they have solved the inflation problem. I will tell you, they have not solved the inflation problem. Inflation will come back in a few weeks, a few months. And when they do, silver and oil and most commodities will go higher because, unfortunately, the central banks have not killed inflation yet. Most central banks continue to print too much money, or maybe they've stopped for a while, but they all think that printing money is good. So do not sell your silver, do not sell your crude, not yet.
And what do you buy within agri-commodities?
Well, if you look at the commodities markets, I've mentioned a couple that are down, but agriculture is still somewhat depressed. And I have learned over the years that if you find a commodity that is depressed, such as agriculture, you might make some money. Do your research, but you might make some money.
Okay, we'll take that, but silver is the screaming buy even at these levels. Jim, such a pleasure having you today on ET Now.
Wait, I didn't say a screaming buy, I said a buy.
Okay.
Go down to the market and ask Indian women. They know more about silver and gold than anybody in the world. Go to the market.
We'll do that for sure. Good speaking with you as always, Jim.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Okay, silver rather than...
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits. And then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.